Hi, hello. This is Anup here. And in this video, what we are going to see is how to migrate GPOs from on-prem Active Directory to the cloud. So that is an interesting topic, isn't it? So let's go through the process how we can migrate on-prem GPO to MDM. So basically, I'm going to talk about migrating GPOs from on-prem Active Directory to Intune. This is the easiest way to do that. So that is what we are going to discuss over here in this video. Let's go into it. So I have logged into the domain controller um, to launch the group policy management. And in the group policy management tool, you can see there are different group policies available here. Okay. So I'm going to just for the sample, I'm going to upload or export one of the group policy which I want to, for example, migrate. Okay, so this is just a sample scenario, right? For example, I'm going to right click on that particular GPO settings and click on save reports. So first step is you need to export GPO settings into an XML file. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do over here. So did that, click on save report. Now waiting for the prompt, going to change it to XML. Okay, I'm going to save as type as XML and I'm going to say mdm.xml. That is my XML file. Okay, so that is done. Now I try to copy paste, edit that XML and copy paste and make another XML, right? But it didn't work. It didn't work because of some errors which I explained in the blog post, which is linked in the description of the video, so you can look into it. No, but I don't recommend to copy paste the content of the XML and create a new XML. That is not going to work in the import process, which we are going to cover. Now we have an XML of the group policy settings from the Active Directory. Now you need to import that particular XML into the Intune portal. Okay, so where we can do that? For example, if you are logged into Intune portal, this is Intune portal or MEM admin center portal, and go to devices over here, and in the devices you would be able to see something called group policy analytics preview. While recording this video, this is in preview. Okay, probably this will go GA soon. I don't know the dates, but yeah, preview doesn't mean that it is not supported by Microsoft, right? So you can use this in production. That should not be a problem. It is fully supported scenario. In the preview homepage, you would be able to see all these details, right? Use group policy analytics to analyze your on-prem group policy settings or objects, all right, and check the compatibility of those settings, etc. Now, the first step we have completed to save the group policy objects or settings into an XML file. Now, the next step is going to import. I will cover all these things in a bit, right? So, the next step is import, and it will give you another blade which is called import GPO files. Over there you will get a folder icon over here. That is where you need to kind of click and you need to upload the file. Okay, so this is another XML and I'm trying to upload that, right? And it is going to see, oh, so this is the error which I mentioned. What I did is I copy pasted the content of the XML and created a new XML, and if you do that, then you might get into this issue, right? To avoid that, going back to my server environment and logged into MEM admin center portal and went to group policy analytics and going to import, right? And click on that folder icon which I mentioned previously, and going to import the XML which I just created, right? So we can do that probably. Otherwise, you can try this actually, right? So it says processing. It is imported, import completed now, and you can see there is no error. Okay, so that's good, right? So import is done, and you can do the multiple files if you want, right? Together. So for example, you can do this something like this. Processing process completed. That means it got imported. Now let's go back to this particular. You can see there is a Intune. There's a Intune group policy name over here, and you would be able to see the update of that Intune that has happened probably just now, right? These are the two GPO objects which we just imported, the XML files which we just imported. Okay, so if you see, you can see different columns over here. One is group policy name, that is straightforward. Active directory target, and that is also same. MDM support, this is important, right? For Intune, you can see 0 percentage is supported, right? For this particular XML or group policy, there is no supported setting in that particular group policy. So if you want to know more about that Intune group policy, that is a device enrollment group policy. Okay, Intune or MDM enrollment group policy. So that is obvious. It does not support the MDM, right? MDM doesn't support that particular group policy setting. That is obvious. So you can check other thing which we did. We did this also, KIR, and this particular policy doesn't have any settings. Okay, so that is also expected, I would say. Now let's check other policy, which is 50 other group policy which I imported previously. If you click on 50 percentage, you can see some of the settings are available, some are not. So I'm talking about this particular setting, and that is not supported. This setting is not supported by MDM at the moment, right? So you cannot import the settings to Intune policy or cloud group policy. But this particular setting, there are totally two settings in that group policy objects which I imported previously using the XML file, and one is supported and one is not supported. That is why it shows 50 percentage right over here. If you look at some other policy and check, you can see that is only one policy is there, and that policy is supported. That is why it shows 100 percentage. And same for this, it got 5 policies and all of them are supported, and you can see value over there, what is the value of that setting, right? And it is a device scope or a user scope. All these are device based policy, and you can see the CSP mapping over here. That is very useful, right? You can see the settings, group policy settings from here, and from here you can see the corresponding CSP mapping. That is very interesting, and that is very useful, I would say. Okay, so that is what we can see from this list, right? And unknown settings, if you want to see what are the unknown settings, if there is any, then you can click on the view button and you can see. And targeted in AD, yes, so that is also coming from that XML file. And last imported, as you can see, these are the two of the XML files which we imported in a few minutes before. Okay. So now you can see over here a total number of this is a dashboard where you can see the group policy migration readiness. This is where you can see for migration. 81 settings are ready for migration, 32 settings are not supported, 3 settings are deprecated, and in total we have imported 116 settings. Okay. So this particular dashboard is also very useful, I would say. Okay. Now let's try to import this particular settings. Okay. Which we had looked at few minutes before. So I'm going to import this particular policy and deploy it. Okay. In fact, I already deployed it. I will show you the results also. So now the next step is not import, it is migrate, right? Now we have the settings and we compared the settings. We have created that XML file, that was the first step, and then we imported that using this, and we analyzed it whether we need all those policies or not. I don't recommend migrating all the group policies to MDM. Before that, you need to do analysis and understand whether that particular setting is actually required or not, right? Most of our group policy settings are pretty old. I would say maybe 25 percentage or 30 percentage is not needed, or most of them are created for the legacy applications or configurations which are not applicable for Windows 10 latest version or Windows 11, right? So you need to be very careful about migrating all these policies. So that should be your homework, and you should assess it, and then only you should migrate, I would say. Okay. Once you have decided to migrate, after the assessment, then you can click on this particular symbol, select option over here, and then the migrate button will get highlighted. Click on migrate button and it will show you the same thing which I explained a bit before, right? You need to assess whether these policies are actually required in an MDM world or cloud world or not. If you say yes, then select that particular policy or settings which you want to migrate, then click on next, and let's see what does the policy you have selected, verify that, right? This is the configuration page, and you can see if you have like 3 or 4 settings, you would see all those settings and setting value over here. Okay. Now click on next, and over here you need to go through the normal flow of workflow of creating settings catalog. So now what we are going to do is we are going to create a settings catalog policy for that particular group policy settings in Active Directory, the group policy settings which we imported from Active Directory. Okay. So I'm going to say HDMD GPO migration. Okay, one. So just for testing purpose, I'm going to put the name also, put the description also, and click on next. And now over here, you need to select some groups, right? HDMD, say you can say Azure AD joined devices. If you want to deploy this to Azure AD joined devices, and click OK. and you can use all these filter options, etc., etc. Right, so I can link the blog details, which talks about all the filtering, Intune filtering scenarios, etc., how to create filters, etc. You can go through that blog. If you want to deploy to only to cloud PCs, you can select that, include filter devices. That is not covered in this particular video. Okay, click on next. After selecting the assigned group, over here you can see settings, and click on deploy. Okay, so that will deploy this particular settings to devices in that particular AD group. This is the policy which I created a while before, and you can see there are three devices which got the policies. This is a migrated policy, the same policy which we talked about a bit before, right? So this is the same policy. As you can see, the this settings is same. Over here, you can see in the administrative templates, you can see the setting is same. Okay, and it got deployed to three three PCs. Okay, you can see the reports over here. You can see the check the names over here, right? And that is very useful. This kind of server side of cloud group policy reporting is interesting. Now let's move to the client side, and I will show you how the client side reporting works. Now I have logged into the cloud side, to test the client side. I have logged into my Windows 365 uh, cloud PC, to check what is happening over here. Right. So if you want to kind of sync up and test the settings, immediately you can use the sync option from either from company portal application, right? If you go to company portal settings over here, you can sync up from there, or you can go to the settings over here, right? Info, click on info and go down here and click on sync. Okay, you can try to sync up in that way if you want. Okay, and the next step is to run a report where you can find the client side group policy, cloud group policy reports. For example, in in the legacy world, you can use something called RSOP. For the cloud side, you can use this particular diagnostic information, and you can create this report from here, or from if you go back, you can create a report from here, export the report. You can export, and that will create a cap file, and from that cap file you can get this particular file. Okay, HTML file, and that HTML file will give you the report. Okay, so let me go back and show you the cap file if that is still available. Yeah, this is the cap file. Okay, so you can get this particular report from there. You can extract it, right? Extract it, and you can use that to check the cloud group policy settings. You can see over here which are the policies applied, and which are the things, and what is the value of it, etc., etc., right? So this is very useful report. Apart from that, you can go to event logs. Okay, you can go to event logs, and let me open event viewer and applications and services log. Click on Microsoft Windows. Now check for device management, enterprise diagnostic. Let's search with shell. something called shell. Okay, so that is doing the trick now. So this is the settings which we deployed. First we created an XML file from Active Directory group policy objects and then imported to Intune and then deployed, migrated to Intune policy and then deployed it. Right? And after deployment, you can see in the event logs, this is getting applied. And you can copy this particular policy if you want, and you can search in the registry where is this particular policy is. I have already opened, I think, the policy manager over here. Go to providers, okay, and then on the devices part, these are device policies, right? So you need to go through the devices and check which is the device. So if you expand all the other devices, you won't be able to see anything. Okay, these are this is the only one which has something, right? So device, and if I go to devices and then if I search it, okay, it is already there. You can see this particular setting is there, title 2, and the value is disabled. That is what we deployed, and that is what you can see in the event logs also. See, this is disabled, the value is disabled. That is what you can see in the event log also. So that was the quick troubleshooting tips from the client side for the cloud group policy scenario. So just to recap, we have imported the XML file to Intune, and then we assessed whether all the policies, we need all the policies, all the settings or not, all the group policy settings or not. Then as per that, we checked all the policies has a corresponding MDM settings or not. Some of the policies might not have MDM settings. Then you might need to use some other method to overcome that kind of scenarios, right? Using PowerShell script or something, remediation, PowerShell remediation or something like that to overcome that kind of scenario. Or if you want a particular setting which is not supported by Intune, MDM CSP. So after that, we have migrated one particular setting, and we check the reports from the client side, right? MDM diagnostic information report. This is similar to RSOP. And then we dig deep into event logs and found that particular event log where MDM is applying this particular policy to the Windows 11 client. And then we checked the registry and confirmed whether the registry entries are accurate or not. And that is it for now in terms of migrating on-prem Active Directory group policies to Intune group policy, or MDM based group policy, or cloud group policy. Hope this was helpful. Thank you all for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.